go on this leg, so they pull their lib over here. There's a bounce lib, which you'll see with the hip up, and this, there's like, I'm trying to bounce my weight, and there's this stack, my regular fly. A stack thing, so everything pulls down through the center. Cool. The stunt I like, male coaches will probably have a really easy time with this. Girl coaches, you can do it too with some super stronger spaces with the back spot. I try and do it as little as possible with back spot because you might rely on you too much with stuff in the middle. Ready? 1, 2. Cool. And I'll give this a little shake test and stuff and very loud. So on that one, it's just a step-up drill. It's good because in the actual lid, they shouldn't be crushing down on you. They should be lifting up. We'll do that step. Can you actually go in the chair? So our first, a lot of people trying to do like low lids and stuff. You can do it real low to the ground, have some people base. I try and stay away from braces holding on their hands because they'll start climbing all over you. You want to be able to have them on their own. So now moving on. Again, you don't want the girls exerting power down into the lid. So I'll have them stand on my hand. Okay, come over here. It's nice to have a fluffy chair. All right, step up into the lid. 1, 2. If she comes up without pushing down my hand, that's good. If you are climbing and pushing down, we have problems. Okay. So chairs and all that stuff, and I've done it on hard surfaces. You just gotta trust them. But then the second they're standing on their hand, they're like, I don't want to do it. I also like lay down on the ground. I also use this one, the stepping on a child technique. So I mean, if you're gonna step on something, you're like, ah, and you go real light with the foot, like you want to step down and feel. That gets it through. I do a lot of just hands-on training just so they can know what's going on. Another thing, don't just train the flyer how to fly, train the bases and make sure the flyer knows how to base. So if I was having problems with her doing those step-up drill, the elevator and stuff, go to prep. Boom, pick me up, ready, 1, 2, boom. If she's using her arms, I can show her how to use her legs. Use her legs this time, ready, 1, 2, boom. Good. This time, I'm going to pretend that I'm her, and I'm stepping down, 1, 2. And I can show her what it feels like to be a cow in the air. Okay, good. Okay, so any girl up in the air, I call it, there's the bathroom scale. If you say on the bathroom scale, all girls lift up and stay tight. They're perfect flyers on the scale. If that scale stays 100, I feel
That is so true.
Okay? So, I mean, really, that's the hardest part about trailing and flying is the fact that it's not natural. You're not supposed to be bouncing on one person's hand. Good Lord, you're not supposed to flip somebody. So, the hardest part is turning off your brain, trying to save yourself the entire time. So, a lot of just tightness drills. Sorry, all this place. All right, lock them. So tight. Oh, so trust me. Oh, there we go. Good. So, right here, if they start flopping through, we do this stuff to make sure they're tight. But they need to do trust fall stuff. They need to feel the trust themselves over here. And okay, let's actually okay. So now that she's going to be real light on that foot, she's going to step up real light. And yeah, let's do the light that spot. Ready? 1, 2. Okay, good. Now, so if she centered up her foot and she pulled right to center, this foot needs to be free of weight. Okay, a lot of girls, we say keep your hip jacked up and stuff. It's not really keeping your hip jacked up as much as keeping your foot actually underneath your body and stepping up to that position. Again, with this diagonal kind of foot position, we're pushing at weird angles into that lid, so it's not going to end up very well. Also, girls will change their foot position. So make sure the bases and the top girl have their foot centered with weight exactly how they want to stand up in the top of the stunt. If you see a lot of weird stuff on the bottom, it's going to be weird at the top. You should just watch your foot again. Let's do one more time. Ready? 1, 2. And 1, 2. Good. Good. So the entire time, her foot basically stays there and her body steps onto it. For me as the main base, I feel the exact same pressure from her foot all the way from bottom to top. Okay, if it rocks back in the heel, we got problems. We're not jumping into it. Okay, you guys all know, huh? yeah, oh yes. She's doing a real good job of doing tap backs. Bump downs, tap backs, all this stuff. Your back spot is emergency power. A lot of times, I see a lot of teams just going, we'll just grab the butt to be safe, right off the bat. At competition, if you're like, okay, this girl's falling, you can put that emergency power and go, all right, we're going to grab the butt, we're going to force this full up, we're going to force this. But I think too many times I see teams just go, we'll just go with the easy, safe, and it's going to cut out future stunts. So make sure that back squat, like, when we get to pull-ups, if a pull-up's done right, pretty much no one's doing anything except for putting their hands up and catching it. It's when they're doing a lot of work, and we train them to just do a lot of work, that it's going to be hard, and it's going to be more work than necessary. It's going to make it difficult to move on. So on the tap back, I see a lot, I mean, when staff does it, UCA, NCAA, all these guys, they just oversell it, make it look real pretty, and then the kids just fall out and sit on the back spot every single time. I don't know why that looks more fun and safe, but it's not. So she's going to stay over her toe, lift up, and make extended arm contact, and bend her knee, and then tap, testing the waters. I'm just not sure if it's close, not sure if it's hot, she's not going to throw her foot back. Also, ugly tap backs like that, I mean, for one, you're using your back spot way too much, making them tired, you're taking away their emergency power. But you're also going to come down real hard on the ankle and potentially on the foot of the back spot and roll your ankle. I think most rolled ankles are lack of thinking. Okay, here we go. Let's try one more time back. We'll show it from the side. Right. 1, 2. Oop, that was a little power. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Good. So she stays over it as her own. I also tell my fighters, pretend like that back spot fell down in the routine. Like, you don't, I mean, it's legal, but if you're going to go back, you don't want to just trust fall off of the lid on the way back. So just doing a good job of that. Okay, so we're going to move on to pull-ups because I think there's a lot more cool stuff with pulling out. Okay, here we go. Let's do a pull-up. We'll have that back spot and we'll do target. No, stay. One, two. So again, I'm testing it light. Ready? 1, 2. And pop down 1, 2. Good. Okay, so a lot of things that I see with pull-ups is just a technique thing. Now, first of all, I'm going to say this is the technique I use. There's lots of different ways of here, there, in between, all that. I prefer I'll be flat for it now, but I prefer to stand up to a straight body position and pop your hip because I think that's going to be the best spinning position. And your extended legs happens at the exact same time the bases extend, which is at the moment of lightness, and that's when we're going to spin. So let's do a drill. This is my favorite drill. Girls hate it. Okay, go to hand drill. Ready? 1, 2. Go on. Yeah, makes them look like drunk pirates. Ready? 1, 2. Ready? So when and we just started working this drill today, so it's a little tough. But they stand up, pop that hip flexor open in that spin, and it spins and stacks. You have a flyer that's ready to double up and do all kinds of crazy stuff. A lot of times, we think we're going to spin from our shoulders. So you watch, do this again. Should do it good now. What do you want to? Boom. Okay. Yeah. If you lead with the shoulders, it's going to dip you out and spin. It's all in the hips, all in the hips, all in the hips. Okay. So what we're looking for is standing up here, and that pop happens in the spins. When I do a toss extension, jump as high as you can. Okay, so she can jump that high, but she's going to go 7 feet. Okay. When I do a pull-up, all you need to give me is this. That's for all girl everything. All you need to do is start the spin, and the bases take over, and then the spin's light, and it'll whip around. Girls think I got to make it round, so they start pushing, and doing a lot more. This is a simple position. It's real easy. So let's do another pull-up. All she's supposed to think about is going up to an extension facing this way. I'll do it. Ready? 1, 2. Ready? 1, 2. Oh, that was wrong. And cut back. 1, 2. Or pop down. Good. Good. Okay, so she stands up and pops this hip back. I don't really worry about pulling this side of my body because when we turn, we all want to turn wide. Out the front side, it's more about getting that back hip around. So a lot of times on pull-ups, you'll see them spin off this corner because they're driving from the shoulder from this side instead of really thinking to stand up and pull back. Okay. The next thing she's doing a real good job is keeping the weight in this foot. A lot of times I hear people and coaches and secondary, catching it late or catching weak. Let's do another one. If you really like to catch, I'll just place in your hands. Okay. She's going to keep the weight in my hands the entire time, and then Diaz is going to grab the weight when it comes around to the front. He shouldn't have to do much more than that because she shouldn't be stomping on him. You don't want to come around heavy with weight on the side. You want to come around stacked and then pull. Ready? 1, 2. Ready? 1, 2. Oh, okay. So a little bit too much length. Okay. Actually, conference.
Such a bro thing.
Ready? 1, 2. Okay, good. I was just testing. So if I have a bunch of problems, I caught one girl just. And I mean that happens in the blind spot. Like when you're doing a trick, like when you do a stand, okay, set, and you're like, ah, and you don't remember any of that. You just kind of swing your body in crazy positions, and you're like, I did what you said. No, you didn't. So you dip and stop and catch a girl, and like she's like horizontal.
Yeah.
But she didn't fall for it quite, so that's good. Just do that blow. Remember, just stand up. Boom. Let's go on. Ready? 1, 2. Good. And pop down. 1, 2. Good. Okay, so I'm going to track her center and keep it stacked on me. It's basically, I tell all the girls, it's basically on you. It's the partner stunt. It comes around that spot. We'll start to bail you out. The secondary should, on a good one, I just put my hands up and it kicks me in the hand. When you're catching with bent arms and low, that means that girl's coming around with a heat-seeking vessel to your face, and it gets really heavy. Because the main bit should go up in stack. If they're stacked and they're stepping down low, they have the majority of the weight going into that secondary. So she just let that foot hang out. That wasn't the prettiest one, but you didn't have to do it. It was just right there. So that's exactly what we want. So when she spins around, she's set up. Sorry, not very nice. She's going to set up real nice on her right foot, and then when he grabs her foot, she'll shift that weight over. I kind of have like, I meant to think of it as a tennis ball. The tennis ball is either over this foot, center, on this foot. And you just shift that back and forth about an inch forward and back, depending. But girls try and do all the balancing of the body that's in the core and the hips. Let's come back out here. Let's try the drill again. As the coach, or if you're trying to help out, all it should take is this. She stands up and should pop. Ready? 1, 2. Okay, try it. Stand up real slow to the front. So we want the shoulders right there. Good. Ready? 1, 2. Stand up. So we want to stand up just a little faster, keep your feet flat. Also, we don't want, like, again, girls and guys, we want to spin through our toes and try and push off. That's going to be tough for our bases. We're just trying to get here and get that flat spin. The base is, our legs provide that. So you're going there regardless when this position happens. So all you have to do is add